On this season of Career Day with Friends, find out what it's like to be a stunt performer for Marvel Studios.
So they strapped me into the armored car where I just have cash just rolling in the back, just flying everywhere.
What it's like managing media relations for professional athletes.
It's like negotiating with a toddler sometimes.
Or jamming out at a famous celebrity's house.
He had his Grammy Award on the back of the toilet.
And so much more.
Now and then they would let out a gas that smelled like chili cheese dogs.
Went to Graceland for the anniversary of Elvis's death.
I would have them do some drills I saw from the Navy SEALs.
Sitting there with binoculars and staring at baboon butts all day. And
the one and the one make two. Oh, yeah. When they come together, it's only greatness, brother. The cream of the cream.
I'm your host, Ryan Haynes, and this is Career Day with Friends.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay? All right! Let's go! Let's go! Let me hear it!
Hello there, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Career Day with Friends. Today's guest and I go way back. This is the first time we've talked in probably about 20 years or so, but this man really made a difference in my life. He's coached basketball and football at different levels and has trained a number of collegiate athletes ranging from Division III all the way up to Division I. Most recently, he is the personal trainer of New York Knicks guard Tyler Kolek, and has gone through many trials and tribulations to get to where he is today. Please welcome Coach Nick Correia. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
My pleasure, buddy. It's good to see you.
All right, listen, so kind of the premise of the show, I'm going to ask you a number of questions. Some are professional, some are personal. We're just going to have some fun. What do you say? You want to get started?
Let's do it.
In 2004, I played freshman year high school basketball under you. At the time of the season starting, I was a 225-pound lineman. After 3 months of basketball with you, I dropped 40 pounds, engaging in the most cardio I've ever engaged in my life. And I pissed off a lot of football coaches along the way. A perfect example is one time we had to run 55 suicides at the end of a 2-hour long practice. So my question to you is, who do you think you pushed harder? The 04 Dayton Rehoboth freshman basketball team or New York Knicks guard Tyler Kolek?
I'll tell you what, man. When I work with my guys, I just kind of try to give them what I think they need, you know? Coaching a high school team is a little different. You know, Tyler, the stuff we do is all balanced with his on-court work, his ball handling drills, whatever else he's doing. That being said, there's been multiple times where I've killed Tyler too. We haven't done that much running, but I also got him up to deadlifting 335 for 20. So getting up to that point, there was a lot of grueling work too. The amount of stop and go probably wasn't as intense as those suicides we would run. But when he got to Marquette, he won every strength and conditioning test they had. Yeah,
we didn't do a lot of strength and conditioning. We didn't do a lot of strength workout with you.
We didn't have time, and it wasn't like something that I was given the green light on back in the time. I know we went in there once or twice, but you know, freshman basketball is tough, right? Because you're trying to get organized, teach plays, teach different defenses, getting and shooting, getting and ball handling. I know we shot a ton of free throws. I was obsessed with that, you know, layup drills. So it almost needs to be something where you're with the guys doing an extra session to get a lift in the morning. And because I didn't work at the school, I couldn't do that. I don't know how the parents would have felt too if I told you guys to get there at 6 a.m. twice a week to lift with me.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have loved it too much, especially in Mass. I feel like that's like a Southern thing, maybe down in
It is.
Here's Kolek, got a step, pull up, nice job by Kolek beating Carrington. Kolek's been very effective here. There's Kolek. Nice move, and it's good with the left hand.
So you've worked with tremendous athletes, including former Division I basketball players guard Brian Rudolph, big man Nick Ponce, and it seems like a few other Division I college football players. Jordan Moko, did you work with him a bit?
That's my guy.
Like, yeah, I saw some of your Instagram posts on him. How did players like these three I just mentioned and Tyler kind of separate themselves from the pack as far as their training to achieve the success that they had?
Every single one of my high level guys code looks the same. Like they just work very, very hard. And what they do is they make their lifestyle about how driven they are in their sport, whatever it may be, you know? So like someone like Tyler, for example, like he'll probably get a total of 8 hours of work in the summer per day. You know, people don't realize like the amount. Joson, Drew Herron, Desante Bowen, Jordan Minor. Like I worked with all those guys, and their blueprint is all the same. They have a ball in their hands, they have weights in their hands, or they're doing something to get them conditioned. It's not different for any of them. They take it very, very serious, and usually you have to love whatever sport you're in or the game to do that. If you don't love it, you're never going to work as hard as you can because it's going to be more like a miserable job, and then you kind of start to hate it. That's been in my experience, and not every talented guy loves it, you know. But the names of the kids I just mentioned, Brian, Moko, those guys really, really love it, and that's why they're so invested in working hard because they want to be the best.
You know, it seems like there's this line that's crossed where it goes from liking or loving this game and then having an obsession and a passion for it where you can't stop. And those seem to be the athletes that can take it to that next level, those D1 athletes, those professional athletes. So you've been very open about your struggles with addiction and road to recovery. I just mentioned you did a profile in the Standard Times, a 2024 profile in the New York Post. You appeared on a popular podcast, Knicks Fan TV, which has about 18,000 subscribers. So in those articles or that podcast, you talked about like your passion for the game faded over that time, and your connection with coaching and your addiction was kind of almost blended together. And throughout your road to recovery, you kind of lost that passion a bit. So what kind of brought your passion back to sports and basketball and training?
Working with my guys, you know, like to be honest with you, like the game got dangerous for me, you know, like walking in a gym. I had walked in gyms every day coaching, working with people. And now all of a sudden I'm in treatment trying to get well. I haven't walked in a gym in a while. And the last 250 times I've walked in a gym, I've been high. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do I walk into a gym sober? I didn't know what that was like. I didn't know what it was like to be at a practice sober. I hadn't done it, you know? And it starting in the weight room for me was a lot more comfortable because there was no scoreboard. So it took away that pressure. And then it was just an opportunity for me to establish relationships with guys, right? Before any ball was rolled out, before any whistle was blown, before the clock got run. So doing that, and then the relationships I developed with these kids, that's always what the passion's been about. The game I love football, I love basketball, but it's always been more about my relationship with the guys playing that made me want to be a part of it so bad, right? If it wasn't for the Drew Herrons, the Tyler Koleks, the Bryans, the Josons of the world, I'm not, it's a game. But when my guys are involved that I love and I care about, then I'm involved and I am fully all in, and getting so close with these guys, spending so much time with them, feeling like you're a part of their accomplishments when they thank you, even though I don't think I have anything to do with the stuff they do. That's them putting the work out. It's awesome. Like Tyler was a 0-star. George Mason, Rookie of the Year. Marquette, first year, okay. Second year, Big East Player of the Year. Third year, 34th pick in the NBA draft. You know, Joson, he could be a lottery pick one day. He is trending up, and you know, it's more my relationship with him. Drew Herron, he's a stud. He's worked so hard. Desante Bowen at St. Bonaventure. So going to these games, watching my guys, you know, and sitting there and spending countless hours with them, it's really reignited it, and it reminded me why I started watching it and wanted to do it in the first place.
Can you think of any other unconventional coaching styles or practices that you've put into place with teams that you've coached?
I mean, I'm sure I've done a lot. I used to make the New Bedford High football team meet me at the beach sometimes at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. on Sundays, and I would have them do some drills I saw from the Navy SEALs, you know, running, you know, massive number of suicides. It's a lot of times with high school kids, it's mental toughness, right? And it's trying to prepare the kid. Like, you see these guys walk in and all of a sudden right away you've given them the win without even playing them, right? I'm looking at this team and now they're way ahead. It's showing you that, you know, we might not win, we might even lose by a lot, but we can still be out here, we can still play hard, and we can still try to do things. And even if we lose by 30, we can still get better. You know, I think it's about the way you carry yourself when you go through something that, never mind in basketball, it helps mold you in life, because not every day is going to be easy. There's going to be some challenges you get that seem very unfair or unhard. That doesn't mean you can just close your eyes and hope they end in a second. Some of them you're going to have to go through. And if you're not prepared to go through tough times or tough challenges, you could have a very hard time in life. So a lot of the things I saw were things that either worked for me, coaches did for me, or things I liked that I had tried with other guys. And, you know, that team, I thought you guys were unbelievably tough. You know, like there was some games, I remember we played Seekonk and I think we were down by like 9 points with like a minute and change left. We ended up beating them by 2. Nate Koneski hit 2 threes deep. Then he made 2 sets of free throws, and I think we ended up winning by 1 or 2. But if we don't do that day, maybe when we look up and there's a minute 15 and we're down by 9, we quit. You know, and I thought you guys were a little level better than a lot of other kids we played. So I was like, I want to give them the opportunity to be their best. And that's why I did stuff like that. And that's why I still do tough stuff like that. You know, I try to give unreasonable feats sometimes to show you that it's only unreasonable if you make it that way in your head.
That kind of leads me into this next part, which is, you know, you didn't have formal personal training. You didn't go to school to study that. Am I correct with that?
I've taken a lot of courses over the years, but I didn't go to college and get a bachelor's degree in it.
Okay, so for somebody who's looking to kind of pursue the field of training athletes personally, or just personal training in general, or coaching, like what advice would you give those people?
Get an internship, you know, and obviously go to college. Like I have a lot of certifications, and I've learned from some very well-educated coaches. I've been very lucky to have them. I've been lucky to get into their courses, but if you want to be good, you have to be around good people, you know. So the more good people you're around, the more you learn, and the more you can get an idea of how to lay it out and how to do it, and what your life's going to look like while you do it.
And who were some of the coaches that you would say most inspired you?
Louis Simmons, Westside Barbell, Sean Hayes, who's with the XFL now, Joe DeFranco, Mike Guevara, Dr. Ramsey Nyem. Like, those are all strength and conditioning coaches who I've been lucky enough to learn a lot from and pick their brain and pay attention to what they do. The other 4 I know personally. Louis, I didn't. The other ones I've either taken courses or had several conversations with them and talk shop with them and been able to soak in what they've done. Louis had a ton of seminars and podcasts and books and lectures I've listened to. And, you know, some of that stuff I've had to listen to 25 times to one lecture just to soak it in. But it's such good stuff. And the interesting thing about all those guys is they kind of all preach the same thing and derive stuff from the same philosophy and principles. So that's how you know it's a bullseye. Like, these are 5 guys I listen to. I see the guys they train. I admire what they're doing, and they're all kind of preaching the same language. So those dots connect to me, and that's how stuff like that makes sense to me.
So you have been dubbed, quote, a Massachusetts product with a passion for Larry Bird and an accent out of The Departed, end quote. You coached a team to an AAU national championship, and you were interacting with historic coaching icons like Roy Williams. You've brought an average Division III basketball program to be a national powerhouse, and UMass Dartmouth, #1 in the nation. And we talked a little bit about Tyler as well. So my question to you is, do you see yourself returning to the sidelines at some point, and maybe pursuing some of those goals you've had in the past of maybe coaching Division III, Division II basketball, or even higher? Or do you feel like what's next for you? Do you feel like you're good where you're at now, or what other goals do you think you have?
I'm good. If my son's team, when he gets older, needs a coach one day, I'd love to coach. You know, the UMass Dartmouth thing. I was an assistant coach, and the team hadn't been as successful at one time. Coach Baptiste had them as a perennial powerhouse. So being able to join his staff and help recruit and, get guys to bring them back to there was amazing. And, for AAU, I had Brian and Ryan and Wilson, and yeah, we were watching a game, and Roy Williams and his assistant coach were watching. We played on the court next to Kevin Durant. We played Greg Oden's team. We played Michael Beasley's team. So to go from New Bedford to be able to do that was awesome. If my son loves basketball and he wants to play, I would love to coach his team. In the future, if he got older and they wanted an old man on the sidelines, I would probably love to volunteer and do some youth coaching as well. I do enjoy it. I do miss it, but I get to do it strength and conditioning, but it's not the same. Like, I could flash back and I would love to coach another freshman season with you guys, because I had so much fun that year.
That was the highlight of my high school athletic career. And what's funny too is I went from, in junior high, I was the tall guy. I sprouted up early. I always played. I never sat the bench. Get the freshman year, everybody kind of like sprouted up over me. And I went from playing full games to you put me in for 7, 8 minutes a game, 9 minutes a game. And I remember my parents being like, "Oh, what is he doing? You got to play more." And I'm like, "No, this is my role now. Like I'm the spark. I come out, I can go 1,000%. I can push some guys around. Like, I love this. This motivates me." So the fact that I didn't even play that much, but it was still kind of my favorite high school season, it says a lot about your coaching style and you as a person.
Yeah, you guys had good kids too. I enjoyed coaching you guys. Both the teams I had there I'm friends with most of the guys on social media, and they were all great kids. I can't look back and be like, man, I didn't like that kid. They were all same old hardworking kids. They all smiled. You guys all played together. It was a great experience. I just got to coach at UMass Dartmouth after that, when we ended up in 2 years. My second year there, I recruited a kid, Brandon Stevens. We had a kid, Danny Holbrook, coming back, who was an All-American, Reese Freeman, and then a couple young players. And we had a couple veterans, and AJ Tavares and this kid, Corey. And, we started off 20-0, and we were number one in the country. And I think we lost in the second or third round, but the year after that, we made it to the Sweet 16, and we had a good core group of guys there. Those were some great memories. It was starting to get wishy-washy for me there, though. That's when the pain pill started to come into play. And when that happened, that's when everything changed for me.
Is there any other advice that you might give junior high athletes, high school athletes trying to get to that level?
I think when you're as young as a junior high kid, just enjoy it. Just have fun playing the sport. And then when you're in high school, if you're that serious about it, try to find out like the people that have worked with the guys that are at the places you want to go to, because they're the ones that can probably give you the best advice. Sometimes people think they know what goes on, and you see like one of my guys in the SEC, like, they're there 12 hours a day. That's just the truth, the great ones. So to be able to really think about, okay, I want to do this, saying it and then practicing it are two different things.
Turn the dial, crank it up, no limits today. Heavy sets, blood, sweat, this is how we play. Racks loaded, dreams unfolding, feel the grind. This ain't just a gym.
So I know you have to go here in a minute. I'll wrap it up with just 3 quick questions.
Shoot.
Favorite New Bedford High basketball moment?
Probably when I was younger, probably there's 2. One when we played St. Anthony's, because I was a huge Bobby Hurley fan and his dad was the coach, even though we lost. And then, you know, when my uncle won his first state championship, when they beat St. John Shrewsbury, like that was an awesome experience to be a kid and be the water boy some games and know all the players. Like that was awesome.
College basketball GOAT for you?
Christian Leitner.
I figured it was Leitner. Your Mount Rushmore of coaches.
What sport? Or all in general?
You know what? All in general. Throw it out
Nick
there.
Saban.
5 guys. Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban. Bill Belichick. Phil Jackson. And probably Mike Krzyzewski.
Yep. That was the name that was in my head. You know, I had a question set out, and it was something like, if you had the last shot, or you needed somebody to take the last shot, who would it be? And I put Jimmer Fredette, JJ Redick, or Christian Leitner, because I felt like you were going to be a Leitner guy.
I mean, that he's the most clutch, and that was my childhood era, right? That was when I was a kid. I was 12 years old when he played. You know, obviously my favorite player of all time. Like, I loved all those Duke guys. I loved Grant Hill. I loved Bobby Hurley, and then it changed over the years. But that was before I got into coaching and stuff. And I'd be lying if I didn't say it. And I loved Alonzo Mourning. He'd probably be second. A lot of people don't know that, but I'd probably go Leitner and Alonzo, 1A and 1B, and then 1C would probably be Nick Van Exel. I love Nick Van Exel.
I used to like be like, Nick Van Exel, he's lefty like me. There's not too many of us. Ah, man, I loved him growing up.
Yeah, he was tough.
All right, Coach, I'll let you go.
It was great to see you, pal.
It was great to see you. Listen, keep in touch. And if you're ever playing like pickup ball or anything, you got my number now. So just shoot me a text. Let me know.
I will. Have a great day, buddy. Enjoy New Hampshire.
Quick timeout so they can get in better shooting range. There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yeah!